Okay, hi everyone, welcome back. And in this update, we are going to check out Cardano's price chart. And honestly, I'm not really sure if I have good news for you. Why is that? Because if you remember the last time that we talked about ADA, we were, I think, right around this region, and the idea was that, well, unfortunately, it seems like that this structure is an ABC, and right now we are having a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 wave. So that's why we said, yeah, you know what, maybe our move down in Cardano is going to continue, and it did. But what I did not expect was just how much of a strong move are we going to get. This happened to be a rather good solid move on the downside, and unfortunately in it we took this important slowdown here, about, let's say, 50.8 cents. Now, why is this important? Because in terms of Elios waves, if you want to be optimistic on any chart, then you must be able to find off of the recent lowest low a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, followed by a bit of a correction and structure on the downside, which is going to take some time. And right around the lows, you're allowed to be optimistic, assuming, by the way, that you are able to identify the correct subwaves in here and argue we're gonna have yet another move up. And this was literally the idea in Cardano. I was like, well, let's hope this is going to be 5 wave up followed by a correction down, meaning what's next? Hopefully by the end of this cycle, yet another great move on the upside. And now that we have taken the lows, we absolutely have to ignore this 1, 2, or maybe even an A-B, suggesting we're going to get another move up into our C-leg scenario, and say maybe this was probably, I'm gonna say yes, ABC up to about this point into an A leg, ABC down into B, and this was a 5 wave, yes, but on a higher degree, it was into a C leg, and right now we are having yet another move down in Cardano. Now, why is this thing so important? Because number one, the recovery phase is going to take some time in ADA, and number two, building a bullish setup is going to be really annoying. Now, what do I mean by a bullish setup? I'm generally talking about having off of the lowest low, you know it because we said it earlier, a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 followed by a correction and structure on the downside. Essentially, you are going to witness some chopping around, even assuming that we have hit the lows already in Cardano, which I don't really think we have. I'm going to tell you in a bit why. But even if you want to say this is the low, well, okay, that just means in the next two, potentially even if we are not that lucky, 3 weeks, we're just going to witness some choppy price action, and it is probably really going to go on your nerve. But you know what? It is fine. The market does what it does. We're just here to analyze it. If I had a say in this, trust me, we would have gotten so far like a magnificent move on the upside in order to take the December of the last year high, which I think it was somewhere around $1.2. But hey, unfortunately, I don't really get to say what is going to happen next for 100% certainty in Cardano. There is no certainty in any market at any given moment. We're just talking about different possibilities. Now, question, can we argue our move down is over? I'm going to argue, yeah, you know what, probably not. Why? Simple reason. You see, maybe you're gonna say that in this whole phase down in ADA, we are having a 5 wave, and in that case, okay, fair enough. I think this can be a wave 1 followed by a correction for wave 2, probably to about this point, and then this can be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 wave down into our wave 3, maybe actually to about this point. This can be an ABC on the upside into our wave 4, and well, this scenario suggests that in Cardano, maybe our move down is going to continue a little bit, and we can have like a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 wave down into our wave 5. Do I have some more evidence suggesting maybe our move down is going to continue? Unfortunately, yes, and that comes down to what we are having on our own chart from Kraken. Where is it? There we go. So, okay, you see, in terms of classic TA, meaning support and resistances, there is like a magnificent cluster of support areas in here from weekly and daily time frame at the same time, and the higher band of it is around, let's say, 54.5 cents, and the lower band of it is all the way down here about 44 cents area. Now, I said it earlier, this is a cluster of support areas, meaning it is actually made from a couple of important supports. I'm gonna say mainly two important supports, and one is right around the higher band of this region, and the other one is around the lower band of it. So since in Cardano we got a move down and we essentially now, in my view, are absolutely under the higher band of this region. Makes sense to argue our move down in ADA is going to continue in order to get to the next important support, which is around here about, let's say, 10 to 15% lower. So essentially, I'm going to call for a 10 to 15% move on the downside in Cardano starting from the current point. And I fully understand you don't really want to hear it, but I just have to show you the data. And if they suggest that we're going to get a move down, I'm just going to come out and say it. I might be wrong. And if I am, you know what? At least you're not really going to lose a lot of money. Now, even Cardano getting to about the lower band of this region doesn't really bother me. Trust me on that. What is really going to go on my nerve is if we end up getting a break of this magnificent support area. And trust me, right now this support is looking quite a bit weak. You see, let's go around here. The whole reason for why we say a region is going to act as a support is because of the long positions that a lot of traders have put around this region. So let's say initially, for instance, we are having 20 long orders, and the price by the first time that touches this area is going to activate 5 of those orders. So you're just going to have 15 orders remaining. Another time we're going to get to here, you're just going to have 10 orders remaining like this. There we go. Another times we're going to get to here, you're just going to have maybe 5 orders remaining, and there will be a time if we end up touching this support more than a couple of times that there's basically going to be 0 long positions in here, meaning what? Yep, the price doesn't really have a excuse to go up and bounce, and instead at that point, unfortunately, you are going to see a break of this important support and a continuation of the move down. And in Cardano, I think we might be in some sort of a similar situation, because let's just count the amount of times that we got to here, and every single time we got some sort of a reaction from this level. This is 1, 2, 3, 4. You can actually even consider this bounce as 5, 6, 7, 8 times we are getting to here, and every single time we are getting some sort of a reaction from it. So as long as we are staying above here, I'm just going to give this one, for most likely one last time, the benefit of the doubt and say, yeah, you know what, let's hope after another 10% move on the downside, we are going to have a massive bounce and get the move up that we all have been waiting for quite some time. But God forbid, if we end up from the current point going down, and by that I mean we go under the lower band of this region, do a consolidation pattern, like a very slow and choppy move up as our pullback, and at that point, if we end up getting a continuation of the move down in order to take the slope, well, that means essentially this level is confirmed as broken, and from that point moving forward, it is going to act as a major resistance area, and maybe a break of this level is going to be equal to essentially not having a bull run in Cardano. Now, as long as, again, we are above this level, I would like to be still a bit more optimistic and call for some good moves on the downside. But I'm telling you right now, if we end up going under it, okay, you need to be at that point seriously careful. For now, let's just have maybe like a 10% move down in order to get to about the lower band of here. And then I want to see a rapid rejection from this level, and by that I'm talking about a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 without a lot of overlapping of the waves. If we get this, we are going to talk about it in the next videos and say just how much of a good sign this actually is. And I hope I explained everything well and you understood what is going on in Cardano. And until the next update, I hope you have a wonderful time. Goodbye.